My name is Shri and this is the monthly direction and weekly update video dated September 10th, 2021 for the 5-minute production GitLab Incubation project. Our mission is to make non-Kubernetes deployments trivial for a GitLab user, which means you take your web application and you have it deployed on major cloud providers with a minimum fuss. We finished building the initial prototype back in January 2021, which proved that this could be done using the GitLab ecosystem of pipelines, scripting, and state management of the infrastructure. Now we chart the journey ahead. In the monthly direction update, I'll share with you the immediate focus for the next few weeks. First on the list is 5-minute review applications. Before provisioning production environments for users, let's first provide them non-Kubernetes review app environments. The benefits is that we get to serve a pool of existing review app users and capture their feedback, which means we can ship quickly and ship small, and we get to test with them, capture their feedback, and get the details right. It also aligns with the incubation backlog, which has a top item titled Review Apps as a Service. Therefore, by working on 5-minute review applications, we make progress across several incubation projects. The next thing we want to achieve is one-click authentication, which means we want to make the setting up of credentials, that process, much simpler. In the original prototype, the process was manual. You had to generate AWS keys and you had to store them yourself. We will try to automate this process as much as possible. Can't make any promises, but I think it should be feasible. So we'll give it an honest shot of trying to achieve that. Similarly, the next item is one-click config. Again, if you go back to the original 5-minute production project, we required you to manually include lines inside your GitLab CI YAML pipeline definition. Can we automate this? There is an example where in the secure config page, we already automatically generate merge requests for our users, where they can include specific security jobs. So can we do something like that for 5-minute review apps as well? Finally, the 5-minute review app pipeline itself. We will strip down the original 5-minute production pipeline, especially on the infrastructure side. We will strip it down so that we can support review applications. So the 5-minute production original pipeline or the infrastructure setup creates things like VPCs and subnets and route tables and provides a managed email service and a lot more things that we don't need for review applications. So we try to strip it out and give a really bare bones environment that is perfect but also lightweight for supporting review applications. When it comes to long-term direction and focus, the first thing we want to do is research and identify popular GCP and AWS services used among GitLab customers. Once we have those identified, we want to support them within the 5-minute production catalog of pipelines. And finally, nurture and build an open source community that builds and maintains these pipelines over time. Coming to this week's updates, most of my time has been spent on these onboarding and career mobility tasks and familiarizing myself with the code base and the documentation around it. However, I was able to build 2 front-end prototypes, the first one for group level authentication and the second one for project level config. So let's have a look at them. The first demo is for group authentication. Let's just have a quick look. Setting the context, you are a maintainer of a group and you want to provide cloud credentials for all projects within that group so that they can deploy review apps to this particular cloud. So as the group maintainer, you navigate to your group and you go to settings, CI/CD. This is where you would normally manage your pipelines. So you have settings for auto DevOps, for runners, for variables and the likes. You already have these over here. You can notice two new additions, two new sections over here. Review apps for AWS and review apps on Google Cloud. These sections can be expanded, and you see this button to set up the credentials. Clicking on this button will open a new browser pop-up window tab, and it will take you to the Cloud Console where you can perform your auth and whatever other tasks need to be performed get performed. At the end of the process, what should happen is GCP or AWS credentials get created and automatically stored in variables over here. So the end of the process would be that you click, you go to the Cloud Console, and when you finish the process, you will see the variables showing up over here. These would be group level variables tied to specific review environments. The next demo is for the project config. So the context here is that you're a maintainer of the project and you want to enable review apps for your particular project. And you can assume that credentials already have been set up either as group CI/CD variables or as project CI/CD variables. The first thing you would do is navigate to your project, go into settings, CI/CD. Again, this is normally where you manage your pipeline. So you see the settings for auto DevOps, runners, artifacts, variables, and the likes. You scroll down and you see two new sections that show up. Review apps on AWS and review apps on Google Cloud. When you expand this section, you see the snippet of line that you must include inside your GitLab CI YAML. But things are simpler. We don't expect you to manually include them. You click this button, the button called enable with merge request. You click this button and this generates an MR. That particular MR would append the necessary lines to your GitLab CI YAML pipeline definition. And once that is merged, you will have 5-minute review app pipelines available for all new feature branches. So we just saw config options for projects and for groups. What you saw is an early prototype. The actual implementation might differ in some details. And of course, everything will be put behind feature flags. Just to note, you saw the prototype which includes both AWS and Google Cloud. But we will first implement AWS or GCP, but we won't implement both at the same time. So you will see them roll out one after the other. The focus for next week is to wrap up all these onboarding tasks that I have and to focus on feature flags for 5-minute review applications for AWS and GCP. It is important to get the feature flags done first because it'll just smoothen the development process after that. I can create, once the feature flags are there, I can create small MRs and merge them into the main code base without any unintended side effects. So that will be the focus for the days and weeks ahead. And that's all for this update. Hope you liked what you saw. Have a great weekend and see you next time.